Hello everybody, welcome back to the Lost Mine Pokemon Trading Card Game channel. I'm Lucas, and I have another deck profile for you guys today, our third batch of deck profiles. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a Flareon list, or an Eevee box list. I don't know what I'll call it in the title, we'll see. Um, and I think Eevee box can be pretty good here. I'll talk about it more as I lay it out, so we'll start here with this 3 of Eevee count. We are playing a few splits here. We're playing one of the Terra, which I think is very strong. You can find it off of Terra Orb. It's a Noctowl Pokemon. Most of us play one of these just because of the bulk as well. You play one Eevee with colorful catch, which says search a deck for up to 3 basic energies and of different types, reveal them and put them into your hand. Most notably, it has 70 HP, 1 treat. So it survives a Phantom Dive, especially now that there's no Hawlucha. And then we play one of this boosted evolution Eevee, which says as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you play it. That can be very good in the mid to late game. It can be very good in the early game. You have to draw a very good hand for it to work. So in the mid to late game, you can put an Eevee down and immediately establish a evolution. And then for our stage 1 Eevees, we have 2 Flareons. This powers up your other stuff. It's very good at one-shotting with Carnelian. It's just the most consistent Eevee in most matchups. And then we have 1 Leafeon, 1 Sylveon. Leafeon is good in this format for Zoroark and Grimmsnarl. It's also good in random situations for decks that build energies. Very good in a Dragapult for Mossagate sometimes, because I'll actually just read the card. I don't know if everyone here will know what this does. Leafeon, for a grass and a colorless, does 60 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. And grass, fire, water, 230, heal 100 damage from each of your bench Pokemon. So it's very strong in that sense. You can, in a Dragapult, you can heal off loads of damage into Grimmsnarl, you can one-shot, and into Zoroark, you can one-shot. And Sylveon, I think most people know what Sylveon does, but I'll read it just in case. Its first attack is Psychic, colorless, 160 during your opponent's next turn. Attack used by the defending Pokemon do 100 less damage. And Water, Lightning, Psychic, choose 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, shuffle those Pokemon and all attached cards into your opponent's deck. If one of your Pokemon used Angelite during your last turn, this attack cannot be used. So this is very good into early situations where your opponent doesn't draw well. It's very good into Dragapult with the Clefairy, and that's going to be a lot of Pult, so you just want to make sure we're teched for that. Especially now that there's no no Hawlucha. Your matchup isn't as bad as it used to be, because a lot of us are playing straight Dragapult instead of Dragapult Dusknoir. We have a 4-4 Noctowl line. You just want to get the most Jewel Seekers in one game, so it's very, very strong. We have 2 Fan Rotoms. Again, you just are looking for consistency with this kind of deck. And then you have all 5 of these Pokemon. The first one being Terapagos, which is a consistent damage output. And Crown Opal can also come up in Raging Bolt. In certain matchups like Raging Bolt, you see Crown Opal for Grass, Lightning, Water will go during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic non-colorless Pokemon. It will come up nichely. It's not going to be very strong most of the time, but occasionally you will just win a game outright with Crown Opal. But mainly it's for Unified Beatdown. You can't use this attack on your first turn going second. Do 30 damage for each of your bench Pokemon. So you can just kind of beat them up very consistently. You play 1 Lily's Clefairy. This card is very strong to pair with your Sylveon. It's also just good by itself into every matchup, because your Area 0 pushes it up to 160. If they have a full bench, that's 260, and then plus the additional 20 of Full Moon Rondo, you can one-shot a Zoroark. You have a Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, which is very strong for both Sob and Torrential Pump. I had some test games against Landon before we released this today, and yeah, Wellspring is nothing to joke about. Sob is pretty good in every matchup, but Torrential Pump is very strong in the setup decks. You'll just kind of catch them off guard quite often. And then we have a Latias and a Fez. So pretty normal stuff all around. I mean, the Sylveon is definitely the most standout card. For our support account, we play 3 Crispin, we play double Lily, we play double Boss, we play a Kieran, a Judge, and a Briar. You just want the triple Crispin for that initial first turn and for later on in the game when you want to set up another Eevee on the fly. But you don't need 4 because you're attacking with Flareon's Burning Charge very often. Lily's very good for if you don't have a Crispin in hand. It's also okay if you do have a Crispin in hand because you can just grab Sparkling Crystal and not play Lilies that turn. And not play Crispin that turn. So you can refresh your hand, use Sparkling Crystal, and kind of build from there. We play double Boss's Orders because there's no counter catcher in this format. So you do want a couple gusts, especially if you're going to be playing Sylveon, because you want a lot of control of what's on their bench so you can Angelite it. We play one Kieran mainly as both a reset for Flareon. It also pushes Flareon above 300 damage. So doing 310 is very good. Like it one-shots Kangaskhan. What else is that one-shot? That one-shots... I'm just trying to think here. That one-shots Grimmsnarl, which has a Frost Blast down. Quite good. One Judge because in the early game, you're attacking with Flareon. You can maybe have a chance to use Noctowl for Judge and then attack a Flareon. And then one Briar. Everything in this deck is a Terra Pokemon. Most of them are 2 prizers. So if your opponent wants to go in some weird prize trade, that's totally fine by us. But a lot of the time, they're going to end up on 2 prizes, and Briar can be a win con. For our items, we're just going to try and play the most consistency we possibly can. So that's why we say 4 Pokepad, 2 Terra Orb, 3 Ultra Ball, double Buddy Puffin. If you put a Fan Rotom into play and get a Terra Pokemon in play in the same turn, your deck is looking very, very good. Having the Pokepads for the mid to late game to deal with Judges or Team Rocket's Archers and just being able to consistently grab a Noctowl is nothing to joke about. Mainly the biggest weakness this deck has is to Judge and to Hand Disruption and to setting up. So you counteract that by playing this absurd line of ball cards and setting up like almost every game. We play double Night Stretcher. You play a lot of weird one-ofs and your energy count's kind of weird, so you want to have some recovery. We play one Switch. Flareon reset. It's very good. A Glass Trumpet, which does find a lot of value because there's always Terra Pokemon in play. You can always charge up one of your Eevees with Glass Trumpet. So like on the turn, let's say you have a turn where you want to attack with a Leafeon. You can go bench Eevee with boosted evolution, bench Terrapagos, have that Terra Pokemon in play, and then you can use Glass Trumpet to attach 2 to your bench colors Pokemon. If you have any Terra Pokemon in play, you can attach 1 to each. So you can attach 1 to your Eevee, and then you can switch into your Eevee, immediately evolve into Leafeon, attach a Grass Energy, and use Verdant Storm. So Glass Trumpet can pull off a lot of late game combos because by the end of the game, you might be running low on energy, you might be running low on EVs. There's always something you're running low on, and Glass Trumpet kind of fixes a lot of the holes. It kind of patches the holes, not fixes the holes. That's not the saying. We have the optimal A-Spec in this deck, Sparkling Crystal. You just get so much value out of this card. Every matchup, you can use it. Your deck is literally a Terra box. So Crystal is always going to be very good. Then you play 2 Area 0 and 1 Jamming Tower. So the reason we're playing a Jamming Tower, even though we're playing a very good A-Spec tool, is we want a Stadium Bump. And there is situations where you want to turn off their tool. Think about our gameplay video with Zolwark and how there was Hero's Cape in it, or Max Belt in Lucario. Because some lists do play that. You can also hit the Rockets deck that plays Brave Bengals. You can hit... every deck plays some tools. So Jamming Tower is a kind of good one card fits all stadium. It covers your Tool Scrapper spot. It covers your Stadium Bump spot. Because you also want a way to clear your bench out from Noctowls, unnecessary 2 prizers, all that. And then for our energy count, we have 2 fire for our Flareons, 2 waters for our Flareon, Sylveon, Wellspring, and Terrapagos, 2 lightning for our Sylveons, Flareons, and Terrapagos, 2 psychic for our Clefairy and our Sylveon, and a grass energy for our Leafeon. This energy count is one of the weirder things about the deck, but if you just manage your resources correctly, use your Glass Trumpet when you need to, you shouldn't have any problems. I think this deck is quite strong. Now that we lost Gardevoir, we don't have to commit as many cards to just not losing as hard to Gardevoir, and we can just play some techs to beat Dragapult. Because I know a lot of lists in the past weren't playing Sylveon Clefairy but it is very good into Dragapult. So you just want to make sure you're beating Dragapult. If you're beating Dragapult, your other matchups are completely fine. Like your Raging Bull matchup's okay if you're able to Crown Opal. Your like what other decks are there? Your Grimmsnarl matchup's pretty okay. Your Starmie matchup's pretty good. If you are having struggles with the Starmie matchup, you can put in a Jolteon. Jolteon does one-shot Starmie, but hopefully you won't need to do that. You can also probably win that matchup by just simply Moss-agating with Leafeon, the second attack here. If you boss correctly, heal correctly, time your Leafeons, they'll have a very hard time into this. Your Grimmsnarl matchup, you're just going to be attacking with Leafeon using Moss-agate. In Zork, same plan. Into what else? Let's think about another deck here. If you're playing against I'm trying to think of decks. Putting myself on the spot here is not easy. If you're hitting you know what? I'm just gonna say I think this deck takes good matchups overall, and it's a very fun deck. Like, I know a lot of people who love playing these kind of decks because they just have so many options. So if you're kind of that person that loves just being able to do whatever they want on any given turn, I would highly recommend this deck. Yeah, that's about it. We should have another video coming out the day after this as well. So if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your grandma. I don't know. Maybe she likes Pokemon and she just never knew what it was. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day. All right, bye.